Good morning, exhibitors. Happy Monday. Thank you for joining us. If you were in the middle of a conversation, I'm sorry about that. We have now gone into what we call presentation mode on Remo, which means that you can no longer talk to each other. You literally have to pay attention to who's on the stage. So we should start doing all of our meetings like this in person. That way we can stop with the be quiet and the shushing all the time. Welcome to the Remo training for the whiteboard. Hopefully this is not your very first session. If it is, welcome. You can stay on after the training and we can kind of show you around. This is basically a 2D networking platform. So you are able to literally sit at a table with people or at a booth in this case. With certain people that are in your space, and it's limited to only 6 spots per booth. So people around you can't hear you, they can't see you. You're only able to talk and chat with or talk and have a conversation with the people at your actual booth. You can hop around from booth to booth. You can go to meeting tables. This platform is so much fun. I've been talking about it for a couple of months now, and I almost feel like I work for them. But this is going to be super fun if you haven't done it before. If you have, welcome back. We're going to learn how to do your whiteboard. So you're not going to be able to do this while I'm speaking. I'm going to have to show it to you first. Then once we get out of presentation mode and back into the event mode, you're going to have to find your real booth and set up your whiteboard. So what the whiteboard is basically going to do is be your backdrop or be your display for your booth on the day of the expo. You can put graphics, you can put video, you can put links to websites. There's so many tools on this whiteboard. It is powered by Deskle. It's not a Remo product. They just have integrated into their software. So it's really a third-party application. And I've been playing with it for a while. And so I'm just going to show you the basic things that you need to know. We don't need to be experts at whiteboards. We just want you for the day of the expo on Thursday to have a pretty board to show people things that you want to show them. And then that's really it. Most of it's going to be more about the conversation. So let's go. I'm going to try to share my screen here real quick. I've got a Deskle. Let me see here. Hold on one second. Move this over here. Alrighty. Let's see if this will work now. Share my screen. Now, whenever I share my screen, you're going to see me in 2 different screens. What I want you to do is close me out. In fact, I'm going to turn my camera off. There's going to be 4 buttons in the top corner of this where it says HA Amanda Shabani, and it's just a white blank screen. Maximize that by with the little 4 arrows that go maximize. So do that. I'm going to turn my camera off, and then maybe you can see exactly what I'm doing so that when you get to your booth, you'll know exactly what you're doing. So this is the whiteboard. So this is something that you will pull up whenever you are in your booth and you want to show someone something. You don't have to have it up the whole time, only when you want to show someone something. So you really want to get your face out there in front of people, but once you're ready to do some sort of presentation, you're going to pull up your whiteboard and you're going to be able to show them some things real quick. If you look in the top right-hand corner, you'll see this little settings button. If you click on that, that is going to pull up, oops, I'm in the wrong one. That is going to pull up your board settings. So if you pull up your board settings, you'll be able to change the background of your whiteboard. You can make it any color you want. I recommend you go with the colors of your branding at your company. Use something that's easy on the eyes, especially if you have a bunch of different things going on. You don't want the color to overpower. You want it to enhance what's going on. So I'm just going to make this a simple, I don't know, let's make this a simple, like a mint green. Maybe I'll go with the peachy color. You know what? I don't like that either. Let's go with the blue. Let's just see how that goes. So you can change your background of your whiteboard by simply clicking on those board settings right there. I keep doing that. It's over here. So click off that. The next thing I want to show you is board members. What that means is that's anybody who has actually put something or had some sort of interaction on your board. So you don't really need to really keep track of that. That's just something there for people to be able to see who's actually had some interaction on your board. Navigation mode, that really is, do you want mouse or do you want track mode? That's like if you're going to be on a tablet. I would highly recommend you stay in mouse mode. Don't worry about the other parts. Shortcuts, those are some of the shortcuts that you can get whenever you're on the whiteboard. Again, if you want to find some quick shortcuts, but once you get your whiteboard set up, you're not really going to need a whole lot of that. Disable snapping, that's more like a graphic design term. What that means, it's if you see these little grids, these little squares, if you put an image on your whiteboard, what it will do is it will snap to the grid, meaning it will be close to those lines and kind of put them in alignment. I don't recommend you doing that. This is not a graphic design class. That's not what this is for. What it's going to do is if it does do that, it's going to not let you put things exactly where you want them. So just keep snapping disabled in this mode. I highly recommend also you don't use the enable dark mode because it turns everything dark and sometimes people can't see that. So there's that part of it. So that's the board settings. There's also an upload once you're done or complete with your board. You can upload it or export it. And then you can also share it with people if you want. Now let's move over to the most important part. This is going to be your toolbar. It's on the left-hand side. You'll see some tools here that you can play around with. One of the things that when you get to your booth, you will notice that your name will be, the name of your company will be there. You can change that if you want to. I don't recommend it, but if you wanted to make it something fun, you can do that in the board settings. On the hand tool, what this means is if it's the hand, it means you can actually move the whole board around. If you change it back to the arrow, it means you can actually move an object. So I will show you real quick. This is the text box. If you wanted to put a text box on your whiteboard just to have a note, you can put, this is where it's going to get weird because I'm going to change my settings back to white so you can see what I'm doing. Okay. So you can put text here, anything you want, whatever you wanted to say, very, very simple. You can move this around, or again, you can move the whole board around. So that's what the difference with those two is. But on your text box, you can pretty much do anything with your text that you can do in Word. You've got your fonts, you've got your sizing, you've got your colors. You can make them any color that you want. You can, once I get on it, you have to highlight it. Why won't you get there? You guys know what I mean though, right? Hopefully. Here we go. Why is that not turning? Let me make my font bigger. Maybe that will help. Okay, here we go. Gotta highlight it. So you can change it to any color. You can bold it if you wanted to. There's all kinds of different, if you want to make the box a different color, you can do that. The very simple, basic things that you could do that's very similar to Word, you can do that. Then you've got something fun called the sticky note. So if you wanted to put a sticky note on there, if you wanted to put hi or hello or check this out, you could put that on your board and make it attached to a link or a graphic that is on your board. I'll show you how to do that in just a second. Then you've got a shapes tool, which shapes are very cool. They're just simple shapes, squares, colors, or circles. You've got a little banner that you could do if you wanted to highlight something. You can also type in here as well. You can put whatever you want. You can also change the color of this if you want as well. You can change the background on those. You can make it whatever you like. That is the shapes portion. Then you've got the connector tool, which that's basically an arrow or a line. You can do a line straight. If you wanted to put an actual, where you wanted to reverse it, you can do that. If you want to make it dotted, you can make it dotted. If you want to make it thicker, you can make it thicker. If you wanted to make it where it did a little squiggly line or a little, just something fun to make it look like it's got a little bit more dimension, if I can get there. It won't let me. Let's see here. And this is very cool because every time, if you ever make a mistake, just hit the delete button. It'll be your friend. Let me try this again. Why aren't you working for me? Let me flip this real quick. Maybe that will work. Oh, I know what I'm doing. Doing that wrong. So there, if you wanted to make something that was just a little bit more, add a little bit of oomph to your presentation, you can do that. If you said, here, check this out, you can attach those there. That is the arrow button. Then you've also got the comment button. So if you've got something here and you're not sure, if you're not going to be at the expo on Thursday and you're here just setting up the board for your team and you need them to double check something, say check this link, check to make sure this is the right link, or whatever other comment you wanted to leave them. This is correct. And then what will happen is whenever they see that comment, you can either resolve it, meaning yes, it's good, and reply back, say yes, this was right, or no, I changed it to whatever. That's more internal. I wouldn't recommend you keep those on there. Whenever you're done with your board, get rid of all of your notes after you're ready. Then we've got of course, a pen tool. So this is the pen marker. You can make it as thick or as thin as you want. You can make it different colors if you wanted to. You also, if this is an eraser tool, so if you click on that and you want to get rid of it, just do that, click it, and just kind of it'll get rid of the whole thing. So anything that you want to do, if you're maybe trying to do a Pictionary contest or something like that, some sort of drawing contest in your booth, you can do that. You'll just create a little area, and I'll show you how to do that in just a second. Then you've got your area tool. Well, here we go. We're talking about area. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of, or actually I'm going to move that out of my way. And whoops. This is the area. Now let's just say that you wanted to play Pictionary in your spot. You would pick this little spot here, put it where you want it, and your board is as big as you want it. It goes on to infinity. I mean, look how ginormous this is. You don't want to get too complicated. Again, keep it very simple. People that are going to be in your booth are only going to be in there about 10, 15 minutes max. So you don't want to overwhelm them with too much information. But if you wanted to do a little drawing area, let's see here if I can do this. You can click on that and people can, oops. You guys, thank you for bearing with me. There you go. So now you can make that your Pictionary area if you wanted to. Just an idea. Then we've got this little button here means that it's a nested board. We're not using that. Don't even click on it. And what that means is the board nested inside a board. We're trying to keep up with our regular board, much less have 2 or 3 or 4. So don't worry about that. Then we've got, let me get this kind of out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. But then we've got the upload tool. This is what you're probably going to use the most. This is where you can upload files, graphics, links, video, things like that you're going to want to put on your display. So for now, I'm going to upload something from my computer, and I'm going to go to, maybe I'm going to go to my logos. Where are my HA logos? I'm going to put, let's see here. Find it real quick. Y'all, we have tons of logos here, obviously, so bear with me for a second. I'm going to use this one, and then you're going to place it right where you want it. So this is going to, you can make it as big or as small as you want. You may have noticed on your whiteboard that your logo is already there. Lauren Reagan took the time to do that for you. You can adjust that, you can move it, you can do whatever you like with it. You don't have to keep it where she put it. It was just to kind of help you get going. So we've got our logo here, and if you wanted to put that right in the middle of the board, you could do that. If you wanted to make it link to something, what you want to do is you're going to right click on your mouse, and you're going to see a bunch of different other tools that you can do with this. So you're going to say link to, and you're going to say URL. You're going to type in your URL, create it. Then you'll notice that let me get rid of this. Then you'll notice that a little blue arrow button popped up where it will this is where you need to click on for you to be able to go to the actual website. Super easy. You could do a video, link to a video if you wanted to. You could do a link to a registration form. There's so many different possibilities. Again, keep it simple, but if you want some kind of, if you want interaction and you want that link to be live, just make sure that you have it visible and people know that they need to click on the little blue arrow whenever, because if you just click on this, it's not going to do anything. The other thing I want to show you is if you want to put I don't recommend you put a file on the board, because what happens, I would show it to you, but it takes too long. But all it does is this tiny, tiny little spot, and you can barely see it. It's more for linking to other graphics. Just don't use it, because you can link to graphics more easily by just doing it to your logo. What you could do, though, if you wanted to embed a YouTube video, you could go in and let's see, I'm going to put in here, I should have had this up before, but life's not always easy like that. So we're going to try it this way. So we've got here our, let me turn this down. That is a link to, I'm grabbing the expo video that we just did last Friday. I'm going to put that in my embed. So once you get your link in there to your video, just click submit. And then now what will happen, I'm going to put it where you want, and the actual video will show up here so people can click it. So once they do, it'll automatically play and they can see the rest of the board as this, and everything in there is functional. You can pause it, you can make it bigger, you can make it smaller. I recommend if you are going to have a video and you have something with sound on it, make sure that people put their mic on mute whenever they're listening to it. Otherwise, it's going to disturb everything else that's going on in your booth space. Let's see. I'm just going over the very, very basics. I don't want to get into every single tool that Deskle has or that Remo has, because it can be very overwhelming. Don't do a Google Drive. Don't do a Dropbox unless you actually know exactly what you're doing. It can get complicated, but you have to make sure that those links are open to the public, that they work correctly. So try not to do that. If you do need extra help with that, email me and I'll try to walk you through that. But again, don't recommend. Same thing with Adobe. Don't worry about that, or capture the web page. Really, the only tools that you want to do is get your file from the device, which is your logos or any graphics that you have. And then you do your media embeds through like YouTube, or you've got a special link to something else that's not a video or not a website. So super easy. I think that's it with that. And now there's 3 buttons at the bottom that you can play with as well. I'm going to delete some of these things on here just to get them out of the way. Make that smaller and get rid of that. So 3 links over here. There are a ton of templates that you can use that Remo had, or that Deskle has on their platform. This is more for if you're going to use something with your team at your company. This is something that's for a long-term project or project management. If you wanted to set up a timeline, you can put this in here, but it is very detailed. So you would have to put in your topics, put on all your graphics. And again, that's just, if you want to show something that's simple, maybe a timeline. Now I have to go delete all of that. Let me delete that. Maybe you want to show, let me see, there was something in here that I thought was cool. Oh, it was a timeline. Like maybe if you want to do a timeline on something, on how something happens in your project management that you want to show your customer, like maybe the way that a sales call works, or maybe it's something how things go through your chain of command at your property or at your company. That's something that you could do. But other than that, again, those templates are there's just thousands of things that you can do with this. If you want to take a stab at it, you have a couple hours to do that today. More than welcome. But again, I wouldn't waste too much time on it. Widgets, those kind of are the same. If you want to do a table, or if you want to do some sort of, again, the timeline, it's just a smaller version of all of the other templates that are easy access. Those are pretty much kind of the same thing. The other thing that I want to show is then the icons. These are just a bunch of fun clip art. If you wanted to put something on your board, you can add that to it. If you're doing some sort of cash giveaway, you can change the colors of it. You can make it stand out. You can also, if you wanted to put attention to it, again, you can do things like that. Check this out if you wanted to. Again, don't overcomplicate it. I know a lot of you are probably a little bit nervous about the whiteboard. Again, the number one word is keep it simple, or number one phrase I should say is keep it simple. Don't overdo it. You're only going to use this when you absolutely are ready to show someone something. So, or if you have some sort of game that you want to do. So, last thing that I need to show you, I will let you know that people can interact on this board. If you want to lock something, let's just say you don't want anybody to take away your logo, just right click on it and you'll see this lock feature. And that means nothing can happen to it. The board can move around, but the actual link or the graphic will not move. So people can't delete it. Just keep in mind that the only person that can unlock it is the person that locked it. So if someone behind you on your team wants to move something, they're not going to be able to do it. They're going to have to jump in and unlock it for you. I don't see a reason for that, but just keep that in mind. The other thing I want to show you, you could do a create area. So if you wanted to put an area around your logo to make it stand out, that little text box keeps wanting to come up. You can change it to where it will kind of highlight your background. So if you wanted to make your logo really stand out, you can do create area and change it to any color that you want, and it will be there. It'll stay there for you. The other thing, of course, copy or duplicate, lock. Fix means that you want to fix it to something. You want to kind of tape it to something. Again, I don't think you'll need to use that. That's probably one of those other more complicated side of the design part of it. But there is something that you want to keep track of. If you find that you want to put something on top of another graphic, let me change this to black. Notice that if you don't want that to be in front of your logo, if you just right click it and say send to back, it'll send it to the back. And you can keep doing that or whatever you need to do. That's just another, I don't know why you would do that, but that's what that's for. Sending it front to back if you want to layer something. Then you've got, of course, your link, and then if you want to download. This is the gist of the whiteboard. I am not going to go too much further into it. We are going to go back into event mode, and we do have several staff that are here today that are going to be online with you, and they're going to be able to help you out if you have questions. I'll make announcements along the way too, and if you have any questions or you have any comments you want to make, there is the chat feature on the right-hand side. Just put comments in there if you want, or come and find us we'll have a staffer on each of the floors in the HAA lounge on the expo site. This is the actual platform that we're going to use. So whenever we get out of this, we're going to, your whiteboard should remain in place for Thursday's event. We are going to open up the event on Thursday at 8:30 for you guys. We haven't announced that, but it is going to be open to people for you to get in, make sure everything looks good, everything's working, your camera and your mic are working, your internet is good. And then you'll notice that people will start jumping on. So just be prepared that you might have some visitors before 9 o'clock. I'm going to send you a timeline too of the day's events on the day of the show, from the time we open all the way through until noon, and then even the 1 o'clock hour if you are staying on for the maintenance tech hour. So you'll know exactly what's happening on the day of the show so that you can be prepared. I am going to go out of my share screen mode, and I am going to turn it back and look and see if there are any questions, anything that I need to address before I go off. I don't see anything in the Q&A. Looks like there's about a good 50 of you here today. Hopefully you are all in your booths. If you weren't in your booths before we went into presentation mode, now is the time to do that. I do believe I sent you all your floor number, and that is what we have on the website for participants so they can easily find you. So you'll notice that all GCs are on the first floor. All of our carpet companies are on the third floor. We kind of put you all together so that our attendees can find what they need faster. That was the reasoning behind that. Today, Jacob, is going to be the only day to get access to the Remo board. We're open until 1 o'clock today. So if you've got anyone that needs to come in and help you, they have until 1. They'll have to use your login though. So just keep that in mind. We can only have 2 logins for the session, so make sure that you give them your credentials before you do that. And then, of course, at 8:30 on Thursday, you'll also have time to get in there and make any adjustments that you need as well. Let me see if I can find anything else. Oh yeah, so good point. Thank you, James. For those of you that aren't able to get on or you're not able to finish, if you want to go and practice, you can do that in the Deskle website. You can create a free account. I think there's a free trial for 2 weeks, and then you can kind of practice. But yes, we did record this. So if you missed it, I can also share it as well. So you'll be able to see those later. Are we able to make edits after today? Only until 1 o'clock, and then at 8:30 on Thursdays when you can get in and make your edits. So hopefully through this little session here, you're able to get everything that you need done. If you need more time, let me know, and I can always extend it a little bit. But yes, we're planning on jumping off at 1 today. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn off the presentation mode, and we're going to go into event mode. We're going to help you find your booth if you haven't, and we're also going to be there to help you with any questions that you have. Hopefully it won't take you more than an hour to do whatever it is that you need to do, and then maybe do some tweaking, but it shouldn't take long. Again, remember, keep it simple. If you have any questions, again, our staff is here. You can chat with us, or you can find us on the show floor. So we'll see you downstairs in just a minute. Thank you.